Yeah.
What up?
What's up? What's up? What's going on?
Yeah, we chilling. We chilling. Everybody running a little late, but I mean, I think I think the people used to that. Y'all don't feel comfortable in the middle, man.
Yeah, I
What's
see that.
going on
I don't
here?
even know how to switch that around. I don't know. It was
Who's
funny.
the
You want to switch it around? Hold on.
Dev know how to do that. I don't know how to.
yeah.
Look at that. Just like magic.
Yeah. No, that's it. That's your spot, Mike.
Yeah, I know. I feel like
What's up, Tempest?
sitting here like
Regine, what's going on?
Regine, Christina.
Lena, how y'all doing? We see you guys. See you ladies. Excuse me. Everything's so politically correct.
you said, you guys.
Yeah, man. I'm old, man.
Yo, I know us. Yo, I don't even know what topic this is, but I know I had to fill out some, like when you fill out some things online and stuff like that, and it says, what is what's the category, your designation or whatever, and where it forces you to put in like he, she, it, them, whatever. I feel like doing none. Like, there's some things you fill out and it's like it's optional, but I had to fill something out the other day and it was like mandatory. And I'm like, I want to do it. I was like,
What you mean? You didn't want to answer the question?
yeah, I just felt like, I mean, I know what the answer is for me, but it's like it's like, come on. Like,
Perry, what up, man? What's good? Just want to shout Perry Jones out.
What's up, Perry?
What's going on, everybody?
Perry, stick around, man. We might try to get you up here for a few minutes, man. And any of the ladies that are out here tonight, if you want to join us for a few minutes, 5 or 10 minutes of your time, and actually come on and join us and talk about some of the things we're going to talk about tonight. We got one issue that we're going to talk about tonight, or should I say topic? Did I call it an issue? Did I give it away on my end?
I think you said issue.
Yeah, I called it an issue. My bad. One topic that we, but we got some other things that we're going to chime in about. We're not going to talk about Dave Chappelle and then none of that stuff. Y'all saw that?
Yeah, that was crazy.
I didn't see. Was there an actual video of it, or just him commenting afterwards?
I haven't seen the video of it. I saw the before, and then just when he went to hit, and then the after was old school 1989 beatdown, man. It looked like
yeah.
Head, man. Yeah, I still want to see the video. Is that bad that I want to see the video? Black Wisdom, what's going on? Yeah, I mean, it looked pretty bad.
Yeah, it was definitely crazy.
I think
definitely
that people have entourages as well as security, so it's not just security. Actually, most of the time, the entourage is technically who you might have to worry about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even understand why you would even do something that stupid.
Stupid.
Yeah, I think
dumb.
Like 9 times out of 10, somebody like ain't gonna get a beat down, but it's like anybody who does something like out of the norm crazy, like something's got to be off a little bit for you to do it. You don't rush the stage like something's gonna happen.
They said he had a weapon.
Yeah, they said a gun and a knife. I was reading something, but I don't know. I don't even know how that got past the security and the metal detectors. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So
he might have had one of those manufactured plastic guns.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Or 3D printed knife or something. TMZ has the video on YouTube. Oh, shoot.
But again, all that information, that might be false information or just premature and everything. Like you don't know what's
No, plastic gun with a blade. Yeah, that's what. No, I was reading. They said that he had a gun and a knife or something like to that effect.
I did not know that. I was just speaking it. Once you said metal detector, that's the first thing that went through my brain was,
yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm going to be going to TMZ later.
It was a replica. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that's a lot for like But Dave Chappelle, right? I mean, that's like some like they're trying to take down some political. Well, I mean, I guess he's political, right? He's
Political.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about to say some.
yeah, that's yeah. It's just
Right.
foolishness, though. Just a sign of, I guess, everything going on right now, right? Just a lot of foolishness, it seems.
True,
But
true.
all right, though.
So where we at today? Y'all don't have to bring me up to speed because I'm the one coming
We
in.
don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we talked about the documents that were leaked, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. Though. I mean, you know what I mean? But I know that this was something that sort of threw it out there. And,
Find it interesting, man, that Supreme Court documents and stuff like that even got leaked. Like, I think they were saying like that type of stuff's never even happened before.
well,
So
actually, it has happened. I found something a little bit earlier. It happened
okay.
with the very first case in like '73. Isn't that
Oh,
crazy?
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's what sort of makes this a little bit more like, oh shoot, you know what I mean? Because it was leaked. It was leaked to the media. I didn't know that until today though. I was actually on Straight to Tape last night, and I think they talked about it. That's when I saw Perry Jones. I think that they had hit on that last night, that it was leaked before. But, it's a touchy subject, man. You talk about abortion rights, or abortion, not abortion rights, but abortion, women's rights, and the rights of unborn humans, fetuses, and stuff. I don't know. It gets real touchy, and it's
Yeah.
What can you whoever is the most up to speed on that? Can you bring me up to speed, or us up to speed on what was going on? I mean, I know all I heard is something's going on where there was something leaks having to do with the somebody submitting some what do you call it when you submit something to change the law, whatever it is, to change the law. What's the deal with that? I guess? Damn, I've been dead silent, man.
No, you know what? Because of the
You gotta
comment
stay
that,
on the
you know
door.
what, yo, I'm gonna tell you something. It's crazy that he actually just wrote that comment
Wait, I didn't see
because.
the comment. I just heard my question. What happened?
Oh, can you see the comment on the screen right now?
I mean, well, we can answer the question first.
Oh,
He pretty much wants an update of what happened, but you actually gave a decent.
everybody ignore me. Like,
No, bro, you gave it. No.
We answering you right now.
Yeah, you gave a decent.
but it was like a 10-second pause. Like I was like, what the? Can y'all? I'm like tapping on the screen. Like, is it? Y'all hear me?
Mike, don't think because you come here all business and chilling, man. I'm trying to go get my shirt off. Mike, I'm fly, man. Don't be ignoring me. I'm cutting up, but seriously. In a nutshell, I think what you were asking about, I guess the term is a docket. I don't know. I'm not a legal guy. You know what I mean? But whatever it was, that briefing that I can't remember dude's name. He wrote
Alito.
Yeah. He wrote like, we're gonna overturn this. You know what I'm saying? This is not a constitutional issue, more or less. And it's been sort of bulletproof for a long time. Thank you, Tempest. Help us out. The brief stated that the Supreme Court of the United States is going to overturn Roe versus Wade.
Well, yeah, that's what they deduced by basically what he wrote, that the court was leaning into removing the constitutional protections that Roe versus Wade offers. But like they said, that it's not legally binding until they actually issue a ruling, and I'm not sure when they're supposed to issue that. Maybe I think like some later on this summer, right? In a couple of months. Yeah.
But so there's all right. So there's got to be there are laws surrounding like abortion rights. right? I'm assuming there are laws around
Yeah,
it, right? So somebody
that's
to
basically what they're doing
so
right here.
somebody to change that, like you just can't have like as far as I know, you just can't have a Supreme Court decision. Like you got to have somebody like introduce a new bill or something like that. So do you know like is that something that was
Nah, it's
there
not
just
really introducing a bill. Like it's somebody is basically challenging the well,
the
you can see
legality?
the states are passing all type of banning abortion laws. So it's just it's being more so challenged on the grounds of you know the constitutionality of it, I guess. And like Tempest wrote, like basically they're saying that the federal government doesn't really have a role in deciding that. Like, you know what I'm saying? That it should be up to the states. Like, I mean, which, a lot of things are like that, they push on like it's up to the states and absent, unless it's a constitutional issue, you know, it's, it makes its way to the Supreme Court if the states can't go on it, but yeah, they basically are removing the federal government's role in abortion, so to speak, and that it's not. I think they're trying to argue that it's not a constitutionally protected right. You know what I'm saying? Where they need to step in, that it's up to the states to decide. Where you. So now you're gonna probably have like 50 different abortion laws. You know what I'm saying? Like with no one governing or one precedent case like Roe versus Wade. You know what I'm saying?
I
I
just
did
okay, man.
I did see on the news somewhere where they said like their protections. Well, there are some protections in each of the states. Like if in the event um, like Roe v Wade is overturned, and some rules kick in automatically at some states, and then others it doesn't.
Yeah.
Did you see? I
But
didn't
that's
know.
what it's basically going to be. It's going to turn into like an individualized state by state thing because it's not going to have a federal constitutional protection. It's not going to be a federal, stamp constitutional case. It's going to be up to every state. So one state may have all type. You see what's happening now. I mean, if you've been looking at it, Florida, Nebraska, Oklahoma. I think the Oklahoma governor he passed a law right the day after the brief got leaked. So like what you'll have it illegal some places, you'll have it not illegal some places, just like any other laws that vary from state to state, kind of.
We got a really heavy comment up there that I don't know if you want to tackle if you want me to read it, but did you all see this right here?
Yeah.
You want me to read it or one of you
Yeah,
guys?
somebody should read it. I didn't read it.
Prepare for the era of clothes hanger and dumpster babies to reemerge, but there won't be outrage from the rich because they will have the means to travel to states where they can get the abortions. It's evident that all in favor of knocking this down has no experience with making that tough decision after being raped or knowing that you're having a child with extreme medical problems. Forcing a person to have to deal with those things beyond their control is wild.
I do remember hearing a while ago, maybe Charles, maybe remember better than me. I think it was it may have been Texas or something like that, with regards to abortion.
Crossing state lines.
Yeah, crossing state lines, like they make it a felony to cross state lines to go get like an abortion in a different state where it would be legal if they outlawed it. So that's
and then they had some crazy law where like they were putting big onus on the doctors, on people to report the doctors and all type of stuff.
Yeah. Awards for that, right? Like something like that.
Yeah, that whole abortion rights, or as they term it, reproductive rights, is it's definitely a touchy, crazy subject, and my big thing is I just think that they're gutting it a little bit too indiscriminately, too harshly, without you know, a lot of other protections, you know, just that blanket no abortions under no circumstances and everything, you know. So it's easy to like kind of look at that as being crazy when you look at, you know, molestation, you look at rape and different things like that, you know. But I mean, that's one way to look at it. But the reality is also that, you know, most people aren't having abortions because they were raped. You know what I'm saying? Like that does happen, yes. But you know, the average person having an abortion ain't having the abortion of their rapist. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it makes it harsh that if you are that woman that's doing that, that to come, you know, to damn, like I can't even do it in that situation. But I think the main abortions is, you know, just an unwanted pregnancy. And then it comes, and that's where I think it gets very divisive, you know, or very opinionated on both sides. I mean, I think everybody could kind of be like, damn, if she was raped or whatever, you know, and she wanted to have an abortion, you should let her. I think what they said about, yo, there's going to be extreme medical conditions that could, you know, create this financial burden and type of things. I think people are a little bit more understanding of those type of things, which is why to me it's just crazy to like totally gut it like that. But under like no abortions under no circumstances almost type thing. But I've had this discussion many times about like where, you know, like the soul, you know, like women, it's the, you know, my body, my choice. And, you know, you could respect that conversation. But, you know, the other side of that is, you know, like that kid wasn't made by yourself. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, where does the other side's rights kick in? You know what I'm saying? Like to the child, like where, you know, like I've asked different women and females just having this discussion, like, you know, like why, you know, a woman's right, I guess, to the child, it kicks in at conception, but the father's rights don't kick in into after birth, you know. So it's like, you know, and I read like there's procedures that they could actually tell the paternity of the child in the womb. Doesn't have to wait to be born.
That's crazy.
You know, after 6 weeks, they said they can determine the paternity in the womb.
Wow.
So
crazy.
it's like, you know, I understand she's the one carrying it too, but I can understand the argument of like, yo, what if I don't want that to be the result of my kid? Then you get into other things of where does life begin? Does life begin at conception? Does life begin at what stage? You know, I believe life begins at conception because it's a whole process that creates the human being that comes out to be one of us. You know what I mean? So if you respect the result, you got to respect the process. So I don't know how you cannot consider the process of life not starting at conception, because without the conception, you have no process of life starting. That's my personal opinion on that.
Sound like you thought this through a couple of times before a conversation. Maybe had a debate or two.
I've had this conversation a lot of times with women, just asking them, like, you know, like why as a man, why doesn't my right to my child kick in until after you have it, but yours kick in the minute you get pregnant? Why can you decide whether the kid live or die and I have no say in it, even though I 100% played a role in it? I actually determined the sex of it. Why do I have absolutely no say in whether my kid could be born or not?
Yeah, man, that's a good argument.
Heavy stuff. That's some heavy stuff.
Yeah, it is a heavy conversation. I mean, it's a conversation that, like, to the end of time, it's not going to be, you know, it's not like you're going to convince everyone to agree with you one way or another. It's like, you know, it's something that's always going to be left up to interpretation on how you view the whole process.
Check it out. I know we're going to continue this conversation, but I wanted to go ahead and invite C. Perry up in here. come and touch bases right from Straight to Tape, the other podcast. We Wednesday nights, they Tuesday nights. What's going on, man?
Yo, what's good, fam?
Hey,
What's
what's
popping?
Good, bro.
Not much, fam. Just wanted to bring a little context to what was going on. The Supreme Court case is Dobbs versus the Jackson Women's Health Organization. Back in like 2017, the Mississippi State House passed a law banning abortion after 15 weeks of pregnancy. And it was challenged. It went through the lower courts. And, as cases like this go, they went through the lower courts and then landed on the Supreme Court. This case was the case that was being looked at as that challenge case to those that are anti-abortionists, looked at as this would be the case that would finally overturn Roe v. Wade. Okay, Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade was 1973. Okay, then you had Planned Parenthood versus Casey back in 1992, which affirmed, which affirmed abortion rights pretty much. Okay, which pretty much put the federal mandate out to 24 weeks. Okay, in Judge Alito's preliminary opinion, which what was leaked was a preliminary opinion, with that was backed by him and 4 other justices. So that's 5 justices right there. Strikes down Roe v. Wade and kicks the responsibility of abortion rights back to the states, where it becomes what it's always been, which is a political issue. All right, and depending on what party is in control of the state house, it is in charge of the state legislature. That's the reason why you have a lot of bills or laws out there, that's ready to turn back those rights. I mean, you have some states have laws that are on the book, that are on the books, and they're in a holding pattern until this ruling goes down. And then once this ruling goes down, they become law in that state.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this is my whole thing is, I'll say this is a big political issue where, and I say this a lot, okay, and I've said this a lot on Straight to Tape, elections have consequences, okay, on who you vote for. I mean, you have Judge Alito, okay, who was nominated and put into the Supreme Court by George W. Bush, a president that did not win the majority. Okay, he won a electoral college vote. Okay, you have Clarence Thomas is one of the other ones that are that's name is on this. You also have Neil Gorsuch. You have Amy Coney Barrett, and you have Kavanaugh. The three newer justices that were put on that were nominated by former President Donald Trump. Another president that won that became president without winning a majority vote. So, I mean, this has been political from the beginning. And this leak has happened before, but this leak is kind of, you know, it's kind. I look at it as being unprecedented in this time because you're looking at, you already have a level of distrust, okay, with the, you know, with at least two of the you know, of the three-headed monster of government in this country, and now the one, okay, that is really supposed to be apolitical now has major distrust with this leak and with this happening. And this, I'll say this, the scary part about this is if this goes through, it's not just about women's rights, okay? It's about what else can be flipped, what else can be, um, what else can be, what other constitutional rights can be taken away through appeal and through the decision by the highest court in the land. Okay, I mean, we already had. You mean you already saw what happened to the the Voting Rights Act. You know, with what the Supreme Court did in 2013. Okay, this puts contraceptives on on notice. Okay, puts gay marriage on notice. I mean, it can honestly put interracial marriage on notice. Okay, so
and a lot of people think that's what's coming next after this decision is the attack on gay marriage.
Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised.
No, I wouldn't. Definitely.
Yeah, but and it's funny. I saw a quote earlier this week, and it was a quote that made a lot of sense. And look, I'm gonna mess up the quote, but how when it comes to rights, we should not count on the high court to do what they're supposed to do. When it comes to rights, we count on speaking up. We count on protesting. We count on being out in the streets. Until change, a change is made. I mean that that's how that's how change happens in this country. It's not about somebody figuring out that it's right. It's about fussing about it, okay? And at the same time, that's what the anti-abortion folks have done. That's what they have done to get what they needed in place. Okay, so and like I said,
but from a political standpoint, right? This is what I'm trying to debate. They do, I mean, because you're basically talking about conservative Republican justices that were appointed, So right now though, with this coming out, you got these midterms coming up and everything. Which way do you think that it ultimately sways the voting? Do you think that? I mean, I think that ultra conservatives, the Christian right and everything, they probably happy as shit. But like the rest of the women that say voted and whatever for these people strictly because they vote Republican or whatever, is it, is there a thought that they may feel betrayed and rebel, or how I've been trying to figure out, does this help or hurt them?
You just hit it. No, you just hit it. Okay. You see, one, the leak could have came two ways. Okay, the leak could have come. The leak could have come from a progressive aide that wanted to get this out there. Okay, or it could have come from a conservative aide to make sure that the five said yes, stick to it, and make sure, look, your name is on this. Your name is on this in public. You can't back away from it. All right. Here's the whole thing. It's gonna energize both. Okay. It should energize those that that feel betrayed. Okay, that heard each one of these cats, when they, when they were being nominated and going through Congress, and and confirming that this was law of the land, okay, and now they're flipping, and now they're, now they're flipping that law of the land, okay, but also at the same time, it's going to energize that side that that wanted this, okay, and now feel emboldened to make sure that the representatives that speak for them are in place. So, and what it did, I'm gonna be honest with you, as a political junkie, what it's done is it's made the midterms more interesting. Okay, it's because now we get a chance to look at who is going to be fully energized. Okay, because coming into this year, coming off of COVID, you're coming off, you got inflation, like crazy. All right, you still have a potential world war that can be kicked off. All right, for the quote unquote party in charge, it really wasn't looking like, wasn't looking like this. This midterm was going to be a good, was going to be good for them. A lot of the prognosticators are picking this one to, we had been picking this one to be a bloodbath. Okay, this leak could have been a game changer. This leak might make it closer if it properly energizes if it properly energizes the base that does not want to see this occur.
Some heavy stuff, man.
Yeah.
Heavy stuff.
But the politics of it aside,
Mm-hmm.
now, right? How does people feel about let's say there was no actual challenge going on to it.
Mm-hmm.
And we would just, and I'm gonna tell you, right? Because one time I was sitting in the house, I was listening to the news. I don't even know what station it was on because the news was just playing, and I heard this lady from Texas. They were anti-abortion, and she didn't convince me, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But like I listened to her, man, and it really gave me pause to understand, like, at least where they say they were coming from. You know what I'm saying? And it did give me pause for a minute, and I was kind of shocked. I was like, yo, I'm sitting here, I'm listening to this white conservative lady from Texas, who probably got all of her thoughts are different than mine. You know what I mean? And I was sitting there like, damn, this lady actually got me listening for a minute. It was not that it swayed me in agreement, but it made some type of sense to me, what she was saying. You know what I mean?
And you were receptive enough to take in what she said, okay? So that you can make the educated decision for yourself. Okay? We're in an age of political tribalism, okay? Of social and moral tribalism. All right, where we stop trying to figure out how to listen to what the other side is saying and figuring out what's right or what fits or where the compromise can be. All right. Now, what you what you did by even listening and trying to understand. That's what we're all supposed to do. Okay. But that type of thought has been cannibalized. Okay,
Yeah.
that type of thought.
But this topic particularly, I've had several conversations with different females about abortion rights not from the political component of it, but just more so versus the parental component of it with both parties involved in it, and that's where I think maybe like, I'm not going to say upset. I'm just going to say maybe differ a little bit, but I don't, like I was speaking to Dev earlier, I said, I just don't agree with the way they're trying to gut it, and like banning it totally and all circumstances, all conditions, but absent some of those circumstances and everything, I mean, I'm kind of on the fence with certain things about it,
But look, that's totally understandable. Okay, once again, it's thought out. Okay, it's thought out, and you're listening to your reservations about what you're supposed to have. All right, and that's just taking the politics. That's just taking the politics out of it. Okay, and and putting the real life into it. Okay, and how you actually feel and how you interpret it. Ain't nothing wrong with that, bro. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all.
All right, well, Mike, Dev, me and Perry been having our little one-on-one. We go back and forth here, so I'm sure y'all have something to say.
It's the whole topic is tough overall. I don't know. Well, I'm kind of curious. I know that the leaked documents. One thing I thought I saw and clarify this on me. The documents were leaked. Were they from some time ago, or was it something current?
This was actually Alito wrote this back in February.
Okay, so it was a few months ago.
Yeah. The actual decision was expected to come down. It was expected to come down next, by at least the end of June.
At least what, I'm sorry?
The end of June.
So what decision is underway right now? Like, are they deciding on? Like, are they the decision being made for the legal precedent to say if this is constitutional or unconstitutional, or is there some other middle ground like decision?
Okay. The decision is whether to uphold the the Mississippi law. Okay. With upholding the Mississippi law, okay, it brings down the federal mandate.
Okay. So that is so it does sound like it's a serious. I didn't know if there was any additional height to it, or if it's as serious as they say. Like it's being considered now amongst justices who are.
It's a serious position. Yeah.
And especially because what more than just that specific upholding of that Mississippi law, what you're going to start. I mean, you spoke to it earlier about what other rights could potentially become under attack, but more than anything is you're going to open up the floodgates for a lot of these Republican states. And I mean, these laws that they're going to come out with for abortion is going to be, I mean, like you see it, like you see what they. I mean, if you look and just Google some abortion laws that like recently were passed in certain states, I mean, they're already running with it. Like, yo, like we already know we got this.
Yeah, but even those are. Here's the whole thing. Even those are being challenged in court. Okay.
Yeah.
But but this goes through, that shuts down all of those challenges. All of them.
Exactly.
I got a quick question. Perry, you might be able to help with this one. As far as what Trump did on a federal level with the judges, how is that going to work in your opinion? So whatever might possibly happen, for some of the other laws that might be changed, or for this in particular.
Well, the judges that were confirmed during his presidency, all of those positions are lifetime positions. Okay. With some of those judges, being experienced, experienced judges, some of them judges being constitutionalists, conservative constitutionalists, and some of those judges just being fucking hacks. Okay. And that's just real. All right. The problem with that is, what could come, what could come on their plate that will be politicized. okay, and be and be politicized, and be politicized for the right, for the conservative. Okay, that's the that's the that to me that's always been the threat when you have lifetime federal judges. Okay, I
Yeah.
mean, just in my opinion, um, judgeships, judgeships as a whole should not be lifetime appointments. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'll say this: unless it is the Supreme Court should be a lifetime appointment, right? But judges on the federal level on down, no, to me, those should be voted upon. Those should be voted upon, and and those judges have to follow the rule of the law and not the rule of the party.
Yeah, it's crazy how that can be so splintered or divided right down. Like the fact that you have all these moral, maybe it's not fair to say, but the fact that so many things are just decided straight down party line is crazy. Even with the confirmation hearings,
Mm-hmm.
I remember you were saying, how a number of senators were like, oh, you're fantastic with this, I agree with this, and then it's no, my vote is no, And it's just like all right, I'm doing it because that's what I'm supposed to do for the party. Kind of
Exactly. And look, that's going away from straight governing and from straight policy and from straight debating, debating policy. Okay, it's either one side of in this policy or the other side in this policy. Okay, and in the end, the only ones that hurt are the ones that put them in office.
Yeah, well, that's why, that's what happens when you vote parties instead of policies, though,
Thank you. Thank you.
And that goes, and that's not a Republican or Democratic thing. Even with the Supreme Court justice, I asked in here when we was talking about that. I think I asked it in another platform. I said, I kind of got attacked for it too. I said, are people supporting her?
Every time you come on here, Z, you saying talking about how you got attacked or some other platform.
Yeah, you know what it is though. I mean, because I understand that certain things are going to trigger people, and once they're triggered, that it's hard to get the listening. But I mean, my question was, do you think that people supported her because she was a woman, because she was black, or because they actually researched and they believed in what she believed in? Did they respect her work on, charitable organizations, on the sentencing commission? Did they, I read that in almost every discrimination case that's ever come before her, she ruled against the plaintiffs, that it was no discrimination in the workforce. Right now, that doesn't automatically bar her, in my opinion, because I don't know the facts of those cases. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I was saying. Did anybody even look at it? And you know what I found interesting, actually, on her for a few minutes, because now she's Supreme Court justice, is Obama interviewed her for the spot. So you had the first black president with the ability to appoint the first black Supreme Court justice, or at least nominate her, and he bypassed her. And he took Merrick Garland, and she took Merrick Garland's position, and his nomination turned out disastrous. So I don't know why he bypassed her. That could be political. I don't know what it was.
I can tell you exactly why. Because it was political. Okay.
Yeah.
Remember in 2014, the Democratic Party lost the House. Okay. They lost the House. They lost the Senate. All right. Mayor Garland was middle of the road enough that if he would have gone through the process, yeah, he could have been nominated. I mean, he could have been nominated and got there. He got there just as quick. He should be Mayor Garland should be in the Supreme Court. Okay. However, you had the whole thing hijacked by Mitch McConnell, who said, no, we're not even going to talk to him. We're not even going to have the confirmation, right? Which was political, which was political, which was political within itself. Okay, using the excuse of, an election is around the corner. All right. Yet the minute, the minute that Ruth Bader Ginsburg passes away, they rush Amy Coney Barrett's flat ass out there and get her nominated. I mean, get her confirmed. Politics.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I figured that it's kind of like that nomination thing is like a one-shot deal. So it's almost like if I think that you're not gonna get it, I don't even want to like remove your chance of being able to like kind of come through it again. But yeah, but yo, just even asking that question without even getting all into it, man, it turned crazy. Like, yo, I was told I hate women.
Wow.
Word. Say, yo, black men don't support. I was told black men don't support powerful women. I was told that, yo, I must secretly not like women. I was like, damn, I didn't mean, my bad. Let me withdraw the question, Your Honor.
That goes back to not listening to what you were saying. Okay. But
the crazy is I didn't even really say anything. I asked the question.
Yeah, you did. You did say something. You asked You asked a question. And instead of wanting to actually hear your question, think about your question, and provide an answer or a different side, it automatically went to attack mode.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it went to.
Yeah. When people are strong on that, you look at the two most difficult topics like politics and religious beliefs and stuff like that. When people stand firm in their corners, it's going to be a fight when you disagree, when you're coming from a different area than them.
Exactly. That's the, I'll say, that's those are the traditional topics that you don't bring to the dinner table. Okay. But we got more dinner tables that are talking about it. We got more dinner tables talking about it than ever. Okay. And you got a bunch of, and because of it, you got a bunch of fractured dinner tables.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that leads to the point. What is your opinion of it? I mean, do you agree with the woman's reproductive rights? Or, like, how do you feel about that? How do you that's why I said the politics of it aside. Obviously, it's creating an enormous political issue, but outside, if you're a person that forget all of the politics and everything, and you're just hearing the arguments from both sides with blinders on to any political thing, how do you feel about it?
Is this question all of us going to answer?
Yeah, it's for everybody.
Wait. I was going to jump in first, so since I ain't been saying a lot, let me dive in quick and get it out the way a little bit. So something. So I realized something. When we were younger, I guess your teen years, and you become active and stuff like that. I think like one of the things that come up, whether it's yourself or people and stuff like that, if somebody's getting pregnant at a young age, you didn't think anything about, you didn't take a lot of consideration into like an abortion, like somebody getting an abortion, especially if you're a male, and if it's female, you don't really think about it. One thing I realized, I think, as I got older, my opinion on that changed. I guess I don't know if it's fair to say dramatic. It changed significantly, right? Because I started taking to like think about the same argument that you made. So you like that's the baby. Although by law it's always been considered, a fetus is not a life until it's born and stuff like that. But I don't know if it was some documentary I saw or whatever else when they talk about the procedure and all that stuff, and just in the fact of seeing, you know, when you get old enough to see, kids be born, whether it's your own kids or nieces and nephews and things like that, like I don't know, maybe it's the age, or you see the whole miracle of life thing. You're like, damn. So I know for me, like I thought about it more, and it didn't seem like something that would ever be like an easy option to like be like, oh yeah, just go get an abortion. Like that completely went out the window as far as like in my mentality is concerned. Because I think I just saw like life like in general, or a baby or a fetus is like completely different. So that's my little 2 cents.
But if under what you just said about the life underneath the life, it isn't a life inside the body at that point under one law, but under another law, I could be criminally charged for killing what you just said isn't a life.
Wait,
because you can be charged with murder for killing a pregnant woman and the unborn fetus.
Oh,
so,
right.
So, from a legal standpoint, how am I charged with killing something you just told me is not a life?
Yeah, I mean the legal aspect is all over the place, right? I mean that's you bring legal and political stuff back into play. Like morally, morally, I don't think you have to answer. You have to think about, right? So morally, that if you could see somebody pregnant, if if something crazy happened where you caused the death of that unborn baby, you're gonna feel the impact of that, similar to like you kill somebody live, like morally, that's just gonna hit you like, oh my God, like I killed this unborn child, legally it's gonna be different. It's gonna be one thing in one state and one thing in another. You know what I mean? So you realize the impact of it when you're forced to look at it, And I think like even with women, I think like if women have had to be in that situation where they've you may have thought one way about abortion, but if they've been in a situation where they have to get ready to go through the process, go through the steps of going there, like it's gonna hit them because they're gonna realize, oh shoot, something is inside of me growing this and that, And there are people who can put that out of their mind. It's almost like this. I hate to say it, like it's a horrible comparison, a horrible analogy. It's almost like let me think about this before I say this. All right. Let me start by saying it's a horrible analogy. It's almost like if people who are meat, you eat meat, steak, chicken, whatever. Like you can go ahead and eat it as long as you don't think about it. It was being a live animal, stuff like that. You could tune it out and stuff like that. You got no problem doing it. But if each of us had to go, kill a cow or chicken or whatever, probably with the exception of fish, like you have a tough time. Most 80% of people be vegetarians. Same thing with that. Only because you're able to put it out of your mind. I think the same thing happens. That same thing happens with abortion. Is that a horrible analogy? Or?
I mean, I get it. I get it. So
I think so. You're able to deal with it because you put it out of your mind. I mean, that was the analogy, I guess. But, yeah. I said ahead of time it was a horrible analogy.
All right. Up next, Dev.
I'm pro-choice.
Yeah, more and
I mean, I'm pro-choice. Before we get in, not we, but if I could say pro-choice with some variables, that would be my response. Because the only thing that goes through my mind is I know of too many different situations, especially when I worked for Wake County Human Services. I was a male abstinence counselor. That was my first job out of college. And so we had to teach a lot about this stuff, and we had the teen adolescents pregnancy prevention program on the other side of the building. And I had these young men. And so what was happening was, some of the young men were they were raised in households where it was like, not some, I don't say a few, let me say it like that, were raised in households where pretty much they saw their fathers in this, super dominant role. And, the mother falls in line and the children fall in line. And, the communication was just different from what I personally I wasn't agreeing necessarily with some of the things I was listening to. But how that all comes into this variable is, some of those young brothers, none of the brothers in my program ever got, a young lady pregnant. So that was what we were working towards. We were trying to teach them abstinence and give them, other things to consider in their youthfulness. But there were situations where some of the young ladies, not in our program, but some of the young ladies were getting pregnant that they were familiar with. And some of those younger guys wanted to have a say-so, you know what I mean? So unfortunately, they're young, 15, 16, 17 years old, whatever. And then the young lady's pregnant. But now it's like, well, I want my child. The young guy's like, well, I want my child. And the young lady's like, I'm aborting it. And that's when it really started to hit me, like sort of this, like there's nothing pretty much that a man can do or stay in that situation. So it's sort of, those are the variables that from a moral perspective, I would hope could be addressed. From a legal perspective, I don't think will ever be addressed. And so it's just, part of the reason why I agree with Francis Cress Welsing. You should definitely wait to have children. If possible, wait to have children. And she literally was like, you should be like 30, And the reason being is she's like, pretty much get those wild 20s out the way, live a little bit, figure yourself out, learn about yourself, learn how to communicate with someone else. Also, you get to feel what real life is. When you're 15, 16, 17 years old, you really don't know what real life is, in the sense of paying bills and making certain decisions that can affect the outcome of your life for generations to come. And, I'm also just, I have a hard time and this is just a part of my belief system, but I just have a hard time just watching how laws can sometimes tell people what to do. And early when me and Charles was on the phone, Charles was like, yo, like, I took the shot, but I can't tell somebody else to like legally just to put something in their body. Like that's not, I decided to take the shot. And I think that sort of plays into the whole thing. And lastly, I always think about slavery, unfortunately, in context with how we live now sometimes, as far as laws are made. And when they were doing some real foul things to our elders and our ancestors, because they all have transitioned, they were taking away the man's rights and the woman's rights at the same time. You know what I mean? And who could actually speak against those rules and those laws without losing their life? So, earlier, C. Perry, when you was talking about fussing in the streets, I was like, yo, he's absolutely right. Because ultimately, going all the way back to the Boston Tea Party, this is what we saw change things. And, the other thing that I wanted to say, me and Charles was talking earlier, and one of the thoughts that went through my mind, and I didn't say it to Charles, was just, well, actually, he inspired the thought, because he was basically saying, like, that money is really what's going to rule. Who's going to vote, one. And last night on Straight to Tape, you guys definitely hit on it. You know what I mean? Briefly. You know what I mean? Just, it was sort of like a quick flash, like, who's going to vote? You know what I'm saying? If you don't want these things to happen, who's going to vote? But also the money that goes into things. That's what Charles hit on earlier, as far as organizing your money. Because he'd be like, whoever pays the lottery. I mean, in theory, they're going to win, And so it's just a lot to ponder. But overall, I don't believe as a man have the right to tell any human, not just a woman, what to do with their body. But I also think there needs to be some variables in there, a little bit of room and a little bit of space, if not a lot of space, for that man to have some type of input. So the only way I see around that at this time is for a man and a woman to date, get to know each other, all that classic stuff that people laugh at. You know what I mean? You know, but those are the ways that you can figure out if this individual is aligned with me in a way that we can grow together in the future versus, God forbid, you know, she gets pregnant, but she never wanted children, but you wanted a child. And you're like, but wait a minute, I thought. She's like, nah, I wasn't thinking like that. You know what I mean? You know, and now you got a situation. Now he could become ultra bitter, even though he wanted to be a father. She's like, nah, I'm going to abort it. And you hear in some of the rap songs, you know, the Plan B's and Plan. They talk about it like it's popping M&Ms. Like, you know, yeah, get pregnant, pop a Plan. What is it, Plan B, whatever, and it's over with. So that's my take. So I answered the question straight up, and I gave a little bit of a response behind it. You know what I mean? So.
I mean, I'm gonna be real simple. I mean, I am pro-choice. Okay, now people get pro-choice mixed up with being pro-abortion. That's that's not always the case. It's, to me, it's the women's right to choose whether they want to keep it and whether they, or whether they want to keep it, or whether or whether based on the circumstances they cannot keep it. Okay, so it's not my right as a man, to say. To say you can't do that. Okay. And actually, let me rephrase that. It's not my government's responsibility to say that you can't do that. All right. If it's a right, and it should stay a right. I mean, that's, and that's really just how flat out I feel about it. I mean, like I said, situations do come up where you have to weigh everything before you decide if it's something that if it's something as a woman, if it's something they're going to do or not. All right. And it should be that woman's choice and that woman's right. Man.
Why do you think the guy shouldn't have a right?
I'm not saying that the guy doesn't have a right. Okay. However, the heavy responsibility, for those 9 months and it going after is still going to fall on the woman. Okay. In a perfect world, it should be a joint decision. In a perfect world, we don't live in a perfect world.
It's a tough moral issue.
I mean, because that woman, I think that, even after the kid is born, society would probably argue she still carries most of the burdens also. So I mean, I struggle with the part like that the father just having, I think Tracy posted about the 12-year-old rape victim. I mean, I get it. I definitely don't feel that she should be denied, the ability to have an abortion or whatever. Like, that's why I was saying, like, when me and Deb was talking, I was like, I don't really like the way that I see how they're trying to gut it. But the reality is that ain't really most of the people having an abortion. So I can't really start the basis of my opinion from the 12-year-old rape victim, because most of the people going in them clinics having abortion ain't 12-year-old rape victims. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I can't really make that the basis of what I'm going to form my opinion. Most women that get pregnant are not getting pregnant because they're being raped. They're not getting pregnant because they're being molested. They're getting pregnant because of, I don't even want to call it decision making, but you're getting pregnant because you didn't protect yourself. And now you're pregnant. A lot of times it's being used as a form of birth control. You know what I'm saying?
Man. You have to be coming at you.
I mean, after the fact. I mean, yo, listen. without, I don't know who that might trigger, but most people, a lot of times when they get pregnant, they just don't want the responsibility of the child. Yes, there are medical reasons. Yes, there are rape reasons. But I do not personally believe that the average abortion is done because the lady was a victim of rape or molestation. I believe that it's an unwanted pregnancy, and I know that I can terminate it. Now, what do you feel the protection rate in contraceptives and all of that would be if you knew you couldn't terminate it? Would that affect your decision about unprotected sex? That might lower the disease. So if you knew you couldn't, if you knew sleeping with this guy, and if he don't pull out and he gets you pregnant, that you could not get an abortion, would it change what you was doing?
Wait, let me see make one comment. I see there's been an invite out to Tashira to join on the call. Why don't you join in?
Yeah, when we first started Tashira, we said, anybody would like to join. And I had actually said, you guys, there were women on. And actually, C. Perry, he joined in. He just was in the thread, and I saw the person. He asked him if he would come on. Because I watched their episode last night for Straight to Tape, and they tackled it before they got into the meat and potatoes of their podcast. We always want everybody to join. This is a learning hub. We learn from one another. We argue. We debate. Sometimes we agree. And the funny thing is, we have a very unique audience because there are a lot of women that watch us. There are some brothers and men that watch us. There's white people that watch us, and they join us all the time. You know what I mean? So it's not if you have something that you would want to share, we can send you the link. You can join us for a few minutes. We're basically in our 20-minute wind down for this evening. But if you want to join us, come on. Please.
Yeah, we welcome. We always extend the invitation for people to come on and if they want to voice what they're saying. And as to your comment right there, Tracy, I definitely understand that. But you're talking about saving the mother's life. You're talking about rape victims. You're talking about like worst case scenarios, in which I agree. But statistically, most abortions aren't to save the mother's life. So I'm not gonna, nothing is a 100%. So I'm not gonna start my opinion off of it based off of the worst case scenario when that's really not, I know plenty of women that have had an abortion and most of them wasn't dying. You know what I'm saying? They weren't in danger of dying. That's why they went and had abortion. They weren't rape victims. They just didn't want the pregnancy. So I'm going to start my opinion or my debate or whatever you want to call it from statistically what I believe, which I could be wrong. I mean, maybe my statistics are wrong, that the average termination is because of an unwanted pregnancy. It's not to save the mother's life. And yes, people do know that there are people that died from it, but that, I can't base it also on one anecdotal story about, one of my friends died. Yeah, but how many of your friends have had an abortion? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just, I get stuck on it sometime. But like my main and biggest stick point is what you said. I don't like the idea of government like kind of telling people what to do. That kind of never sits right with people. But I also don't like the idea that you for the 9 months you're telling me, yeah, I'm doing whatever I want, go to hell. If I don't care how you feel. And then after it's born, and you're telling me I'm also now I'm going to take into consideration or what I want you to do or what my expectations of you are after I just told you to go to hell for 9 months. So my biggest issue is that the man has absolutely no say in his child. Forget, if you could remove the word abortion from it, and remove the government thing. I just don't like the idea. And I don't care how many people I don't care how many deadbeats you could point to. Because I'm not a deadbeat dad. Never been one. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not, so I don't think I don't think my right to my child should even be debated upon what another dude may or may not do with his kid. You know what I'm saying? So it's just hard for me to feel like, damn, I don't have no say in my child. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. You know what I'm saying?
See why there's some fights going on in the chat rooms with you, Z.
It's all good.
I see how it goes down there. So I think we're gonna we may have someone else joining us in a bit.
Can we read a few comments and if anybody wants to chime in until she gets here? We can read Christina's and then Stephen wrote right after that. Historically, if a woman couldn't get an abortion, she uses a coat hanger or a hack doctor like in the old days. She gets an infection and dies. It's always a life-saving decision. No one takes that decision lightly. Pretty heavy stuff. Stephen said abortion is not birth control per se. I found this study results women's reasons for seeking an abortion fell into 11 broad themes. The predominant theme identified as reasons for seeking abortion included financial reasons, 40%, timing, 36%, partner-related reasons, 31%, and the need to focus on other children, 29%. Most women reported multiple reasons for seeking abortion, crossing over several themes. And
man, Stephen gave us stats on there. Everything he gave us everything but a citation of where the information came from.
Yeah.
And we have
all things that they knew before they got pregnant.
Oh, gosh. Whoa.
What sport you watching this week, Charles? We gotta check up on you right now.
What I'm saying is that if that's the reasoning, what I'm saying though, you knew your financial situation at that time. You knew you wanted to focus. You knew you had other kids at that time. You knew who your partner was that slept with you and impregnated you at that time.
Bro, please stop before you, because right there you on a steamroller that's going over the garden, man. You killing all.
Oh, you see it too?
Hey.
You see it too?
I mean, what I'm saying is, if you're making these decisions, I should not then be not allowed. I just don't agree that the man should not have absolutely no say in the life of his child. That's the bottom line.
King Richard, it says that's a grown. Oh, I'm pointing the wrong way. That's a grown ass man over there talking. He speak his mind. Go right ahead. Say what you got to say. Be instigating it.
I mean, damn, I'm actually fighting for my kid, and I'm fighting for my kid, and it's a bad thing. And then if the kid is born and I don't take care of him, it's a bad thing too. So either way, I'm doing the wrong shit. You know what I'm saying?
It was something else that you said. I can't even remember that I was keying in on, man. I was just like, yeah, I get that part. But it was something else that was said. Well, I'm gonna read Stephen's what Stephen wrote.
No, I agree with you too, Tempest. Birth control is not 100% effective, but if you're not using no birth control at all, your chances are higher that you're going to get pregnant.
Yeah, that's what it was, man. Like, it just sounded real absolute for a second, man. I'm like, there's so many things that can happen, even if you're using a condom, if you're not using a condom. I mean, there's so many things, like, you know what I mean?
Yo, Dev, can you flip back to Steve's question real quick?
Yeah, I definitely going to go back to it. You want to read it, Perry, or you want me to tackle it?
No, you go ahead and read it. You serve it up. I'll tackle it.
Here's a different question. Shouldn't we be concerned that this news leaked from the Supreme Court? It's a pretty bad breach of security.
No, we should be concerned. Okay, we should be concerned. That's information that should have not gotten out of the Supreme Court and gotten into the hands of two reporters at Politico. But with that being said, Now we're talking about an inevitability that was supposed to happen. That's going to happen in another month or so. Okay, but nah, Steve, you're right. We should be concerned about that. Okay, and it is something that does need to be investigated, and also, whoever leaked it, needs to be handled. But at the same time, it still doesn't take away from the precedent that's about to be set.
Did you see Steven's response to? The other Steven. There's two Stevens up here.
Uh-huh.
Sure. Do you think there's a chance it was planned? No pun intended.
Of course. All leaks are planned. Okay? There isn't a leak. Nothing leaks by accident. Nothing. I don't care. I don't care whether it's politics. I don't care if it's a rumor about a basketball player wanting out of where he's at and is demanding a trade, but you don't hear it come from his mouth. It's a leak. Those are planned. Leaks are never by accident.
I think Stevens Capazzola's response was pretty also in states that outlaw abortion. Will they make plans to provide aid for the additional children that result?
Oh, no.
Was said earlier to me. I was like,
no. Actually, let me rephrase that. Hell no.
Exactly.
Because they don't now. They don't now. I'm not going to expect them to do that. In this case, no.
And for the record, for everybody in the comments, as far as the Real Talk Live response, all four of us have not had a child at 22. That was actually Charles writing that. I just wanted to let everybody know that.
That was the reference to back in the day. I mean, that's back in the day. That was almost 30 years ago.
John, welcome. We were trying to sort of have Tashera come on, but Tashera, listen, if you can,
I was having she needed me to send it to. Well, if you can hear me, she wanted me to send it to her in her what did she say? Her story, but I don't even know how to do that. So I just posted it on your page. So delete it after you. I just posted it on your regular page. So
and for the record, I just want to reiterate what Charles said earlier. Like, our show was completely interactive, and we don't mind basically who comes up here, as long as you're not disrupting the platform. Because in our early days, we had some individuals that would be in the comments, and sometimes it would get a little crazy, and we just don't welcome that. We try to show people what you see 90% of the time. What you might not see 90% of the time this is what happens. Like, we actually talk. A lot of conversations happen, a lot of heavy debates, and especially amongst men. Like, a lot of times they don't get to see a group of men just having conversations. I mean, some of the shows that are on are really cool, with the barbershops and stuff like that. But nevertheless, those are like cameras, like, so I guess we got cameras on it too. But our show very specifically just started as just a text message, I think, from Mike to me, Charles, and Noah. And that's pretty much the format that we kept, just raw opinions. And as you see, sometimes we don't know. Sometimes I don't know what the hell is going on. So I be like looking at my phone real quick, trying to figure something out, because that's what I love about this. You can come on here and you can actually learn something, and we can learn from one another. Cheryl, did I say your name right?
Yes, you did. Can you all hear me?
Perfectly.
Yes. Fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my take on this. Ideally, and I think this was stated earlier, ideally, the decision to have a child should be made by both parties. But unfortunately, that's not always the case. Mm-hmm. Like Charles said, ultimately, it's the mother's decision. And it has nothing to do with, if they had sex willingly or unwillingly, whatever the case may be. It should still be a joint decision. Now, my thing is this. If you link up with somebody and they happen to be a bad seed or whatever the case may be, you don't know that while you're having sex. You know what I'm saying? So when you decide to get an abortion or not to get an abortion, there's several factors that you have to consider. Yeah, it can be health related, or you can find out at the last minute, hey, this guy's a jerk, he's not going to be there. But it's a woman's body, and I'm looking at the panel, and I'm like, there's all these men, just like in the government setting, all of these men discussing what a woman should or should not do with her body. And I see
I
Devin
thought I was
laughing.
discussing my child.
Huh?
So, see, perception is everything. I thought I was discussing my right to my child. You say I'm discussing the woman's body.
Oh
see, we already think we're discussing different things.
I can't even hear you properly.
I said you said that it's men up here discussing what women should do with their body. I'm saying that I believed I was discussing what right I should have to my child.
Now, from that perspective, right, you as a father, right? Stop, Mike.
I saw that. It was like,
no, I'm saying like you as a father, you have just as much as a right as a mother, and you have
after the fact.
What do you mean? Once the child is here?
Once the child is born, I have absolutely no rights at conception.
You have just as much right as the mother does. It's just certain things men think automatically, oh, the mother has ultimate rights. No, you as a father. What rights
do I have while you're pregnant?
You have rights to discuss with your child's mother, okay, this is what I think we should do.
That's not a right. That's a conversation.
It's the same thing.
What
because
right do I have? You said I have a right.
Like legal rights, though. So.
What rights do I have to the child inside of your body before they're born? I don't even have parental rights.
None, because it's in her body.
Oh, but you told me I had rights to the child, and I'm saying I don't.
Right. I'm talking about after the fact. I thought you meant after the fact.
No, because we're talking about even getting to after the fact. Because we don't get there if you say that you're going to have the abortion.
That's why it's so important to link up with people, like Devin said, that's on the same page as you. And that doesn't always happen all of the time. And it's not always just the woman's responsibility to make sure dude is wearing a condom. That also should be a joint decision.
But that's what I'm saying. I agree with you. All of these things should be joint decisions, except the biggest decision, which I should have no say in. So let me ask the women this. Outside of the argument, my body, my choice, explain why do you feel the father who paternity can be established after about 6 weeks in the womb? If I petition the courts, like women petition the court for paternity, right? Women petition the courts all the time for paternity to establish child support. If I could take a woman and petition her in court to determine the paternity 6 weeks into the womb, and it's established that's my child, why then should I have no rights?
I don't have an answer for that. Because
nobody does. That's why I keep asking that question.
What'll happen is whether or not you have rights while the child is in the mother's womb or not. Once that child is here, you know it's game time. It's no, let me take a test, let me do this. Once you sign that birth certificate, it's game time. And all responsibilities should be between both the parents. But again, I'm going back to while the woman is pregnant. It's her decision whether or not she want to keep the child. As a man, you just have to do your due diligence and put your work in to reassure her that you're gonna be a good father, whether y'all together or not. And a lot of men, once they see the woman is headed towards, oh, I don't know, they just fall back. And I'm speaking from a space of me seeing different females that I know go through that. So it's not so much of the woman picking a bad person or whatever the case may be. Some dudes they with it just as much as the mothers with it.
Oh, of course. I mean, you definitely have most scenarios, but if your opinion is that the guy shouldn't have no rights in the womb, then after the child is born, how would you feel about taking that same position? You didn't want me to have no say, so I'm going to walk away with no say.
And guess
what? But no, because now you're going to go to court to make sure that my rights are established or my paternity is established. You see, in every situation, you can be the sole one choosing. And that's my thing that I'm saying, right? So first of all, let me say this. I don't totally agree with banning all abortions. I don't agree with that. You know what I'm saying? Not at all. I don't agree with gutting it the way they're talking about that, because I'm sure that people are getting that opinion, right? So, but what I'm saying is that I just feel that, and I don't even know honestly how to correct it or how to legislate it. But I just want to, I just feel that, damn, if I sleep with a woman and she gets pregnant and I want my child, say, okay, see, because women always giving their scenarios. Let me give you the scenario. Yo, I'm a 40-something-year-old man. This might be my last go round at having a child.
Okay.
And you telling me I can't have it. Why? I need this child. I need it to carry my legacy. Why can't I have it?
Right.
Because you decide I can't have it?
Let me just comment before, just because I see there was a comment up on the page that says there's no compromising when it comes to pregnancy. You are not, and this goes along with what you guys are saying. You are not the host of the embryo. If she doesn't want to be pregnant, then do you have more rights? You don't have control over a legal medical procedure. What I was just going to add to this, and y'all continue to go back and forth. I'm actually going to have to jump off a little soon, so it's good that y'all are battling back and forth. I see the other two hosts sitting there just looking like, ooh, ah.
No. I definitely have some comments, and we're on a 12 to 15 minute wind down this evening. After you
I'm just gonna say one quick comment. So my way of seeing it is that, right. So it's one of those things that's never gonna be answered. Like whether or not you see the embryo as its own life or nothing more than something that's intertwined with the mother. The fact that it's intertwined is undeniable, right? And so you see that in a case where if something's going on with the child, that may jeopardize the life of the mother, right? So if you as a father outside of that, if her life is in jeopardy, can you then decide, no, I don't care about her life is in the jeopardy. Do whatever you got to do to save the baby. So that in of itself is something that spans across, or that creates a new problem that's impossible to solve. Like when should you be able to decide someone else's life? Now you can decide on the life. If you have that decision, you can decide on the life of the embryo and the mother if they live or die, kind of thing. So that's I know what makes it so complicated. I just wanted to throw that quick comment in.
And Mike, I know you're gonna have to leave soon, and I think what Dawn wrote needs to be said. And it was a long comment, so I didn't want to just post it, or none of us posted it, so it wouldn't block everybody's face. And the reason I want to read this is because I think to some degree, one, it says exactly what Charles was saying earlier as far as perception and also people's experiences. I'm gonna add that. And then as far as what Perry said a little while ago, as far as the weight of that time frame between when she gets pregnant and the time she has the baby as a child. At the end of the day, to your point, Mike, I don't think there's it's variable. We're literally talking about variables and legislation and how people are supposed to manage decisions. And again, let's read this really quick. And before you go, Mike, if everybody can just sort of chime in on this, if you have an opinion. And Dawn wrote, women are punished for having sex. Men can literally walk away and never look back. Women can't do that until the baby is born, after the act itself. Men don't have the burden of carrying the child and giving the birth. Can we regulate how a man spreads his seed, since we want to regulate how a woman then grows and gives birth to her eggs? As a woman, a mother of 3, that has also chosen to have an abortion, it makes me angry that people that don't have the ability to, or the ultimate, and then I think I don't know. That's responsibility. Okay. Any comments on that?
Well, that's perception, because as a father, I think I have an ultimate responsibility to my child. So I don't know what I know there are men that don't, so I don't. You're not talking to me. I don't even take that to be something to me because I feel I have an ultimate responsibility to my child, and that's what I'm saying. It's perception, and the fact that like I'm saying that, damn, it's my kid also. You know, somebody wrote a comment. Here's another comment we could add. Why didn't you choose a better partner to have a child then? Seriously? They're literally making an argument that you find out that the dude ain't no good. I could literally ask the same question to the woman. Why didn't you choose a better partner? Why didn't you choose a better partner?
Yeah.
Why didn't you pick a better man to impregnate you? Like, how can you asking that? Like, ta-da! You know, like, yo, come on, that question could be flipped easily.
Yeah, I mean,
that question could easily be flipped. Why didn't the woman choose a better man if she wants to now not have his kid? And I know there's more reasons than that, but I'm saying as in response to that question, we can do that circular thing back and forth. Everybody should have made better choices. So I'll take accountability. But
how do you maybe I'm missing some part in that question. Like, how do you read into choose a better partner? I mean, if the decision is just whether or not to have not have a child after you become pregnant, like what is choosing a better partner have to do with that comment? Like, how are you receiving that, Charles? Like, you know what I mean? Like, just somebody who's more in line with the way you think, or what is it?
No, I'm looking at that, unless I'm interpreting it wrong, like is if I don't want her to have an abortion, like why didn't I choose a better partner? And I'm saying, like, you literally could ask the same thing as a woman if you want to have an abortion, because I think the young lady, I forgot your name, when she said, like, you may realize, like, yo, this ain't a dude I want to have a kid with. So I could literally ask you the same thing. Well, why didn't you choose better? Since you're asking me, why didn't I choose a better woman? I could literally ask you, why didn't you choose a better man?
I got you. Man, it's starting to heat up as time goes on.
Yeah, do you have any thoughts about this last comment? You know, why did you choose a better partner to have a child, or that just let that stay where it was? You know, no pressure. Just curious.
What you asking, Jeff? I was trying to make sure I understood it. I mean, I think Charles explained. I think how Catherine meant it. Why, and if you should your partner. If there's an issue with whether you choose to have a child or have an abortion, you should be more in line with whatever your partner's desires are and stuff like that. I think that's how I interpret it. So if they're not, then you made a mistake on that selection process, kind of thing, you know. But as Charles said, yeah, the guy made a mistake with the female, and the female made a mistake with the guy, kind of thing. So
yeah, it's equal, same thing.
Yeah,
and it's perception, because see. I don't totally look at it like I'm telling her what to do with her body per se. That's when it comes to what you want to do with your nails and your hair and all that other stuff. That's a whole nother issue in our community. I'm talking about what I want to be done with my child. And so it really would come down to me is, do I feel the right to my child, or that supersedes. And that's, I guess, the great debate. Does it supersede your right to terminate the life of my child? You know, so the argument is going to be approached from different perspectives, because I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I'm not looking at it like I'm telling you what to do with your body. I'm looking at it like I'm telling you what to do with my child. You see what I'm saying? And that right supersedes. Yo, you want to go, you know, we got arguments. You want to go with the weaves, you want to go with the other stuff, personal stuff to your body that doesn't affect my child. I don't got no beef with that. Some black men do. That's another issue in our community. But what you're doing is going to affect my child. And that's the perspective in which I'm looking at it from. Not the perspective of telling you what to do with your body.
Let me make this one comment.
I was trying to respond a second ago. Tashara was actually trying to say something, and she's a guest. So I think we should.
No, sorry.
Absolutely.
All right, well, y'all go ahead. I'm gonna bow out and you finish your jab there, and I'm bow out. Y'all go ahead. I'm gonna stay listening in.
No, I think from that perspective, Charles is definitely on a different type of time, because, like I said, there's a good population of men that once they see the mom is more so leaning towards having a termination, then they pretty much transition down that path as well. But there's certain guys, certain men like Charles that whether the situation is a relationship or not, he seems very adamant about someone being in a position voicing his opinion on whether or not the woman should keep the child or not. And it's a valid argument. And the only thing you can do is continue to have that communication with the mother to, again, reassure her that you're going to be there, because there's no woman that in her right mind that would want to go into a situation knowing that she'll be like doing everything on her own. Because it's unfortunate that in the Afro culture, there's a good number of single parent households where the mother is doing everything and the father is just, in and out on his own time, whenever the case may be. So, that's something to consider as well.
Well said. Well said. I mean, look, and it just still goes down to the discussion between the two. And you said it beautifully, the communication, between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Even with Charles, even with you wanting to have that response, wanting to be there from the beginning, okay, and have a say in the beginning, okay, it's commendable in how all men should be, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still always gonna say, 1 to 9, 1 to 9, the final choice is still, the final choice to me is still going to be with the mother or the potential mother, okay, but it still should be a discussion. Okay, it should be some decisions that come down. If both can communicate and if both want to be responsible.
I want to piggyback on what you just said a second ago, Perry.
Mm-hmm.
When we were younger, there's two situations that stick out in my brain. Just growing up in New York, one situation was simple. The young man and the young woman, they dated.
Mm-hmm.
The young woman disappeared. 2 years later, the young man finds out, I have a child. She never said a word to him. And it crushed him.
Oh.
And it didn't crush him because he had a child. It crushed him because he wasn't allowed the right or the privilege, depending on how you see it, to be there, maybe to go to the Lamont classes, maybe to hold her hand, maybe to go through that part of the process where now your child is coming. And for any father, I mean, maybe some people might see Charles's statements as being extreme, but the reality of what we're talking about in Real Talk Live is we're talking about real situations and people's experiences and how they look at things. That's the beauty of what we're doing. But now the other situation was completely different. The young man and the young woman, she gets pregnant, and these are all young folk. Let me say that also. I want to say that these are not the suggested way of doing things that I was throwing out there earlier, which is to date, wait until you as old as you possibly can. I hate to say it like that. Live a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Get some things out of your, just wiggle it out. You know what I mean? Get it, But these were young people. And in this other situation, they get pregnant. They're both like 16, 17, whatever. So they're like, oh, we're going to have a child. So she has one set of things being said in her household to her. He has another set of things being said to him in his household. They're young. They're immature. They're trying to figure it out. So she tells him something went wrong. I lost the baby. So he's like, wow, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? They link back up, everything's moving forward. A week and a half later, she calls him from the hospital, upstate New York. She was rushed to the hospital because she had went behind his back, had an abortion, but it was a botched procedure. She had twins. They missed one of the children. And so I'm saying all of that to sort of bring some human context into what Charles is saying, and also speaking as a man to say to all of the women out there, in particular, as a man who is a father, who takes fatherhood seriously, who's a dozen member. I'm one of the original dozen from Nourishell, New York. There's like 20 of us, but we go by the dozen. It's the weirdest thing in the world. Every single one of the dozen members, every single one takes care of their children. Every single one, whether married, married and divorced, married, divorced, remarried, single, the fatherhood component, because some of us didn't have fathers, we just was like, nah. And it wasn't nothing we ever all discussed. It wasn't like, yo, Perry, if you get, a woman pregnant, you're gonna have, you're gonna be there. And Charles, because we would do that just as far as our social norms. We checked one another. If one of us was out of line, we checked one another. And it was, sometimes we fought. But it was love. So I'm saying all of that to say that for the women out there, yes, it is your body. Okay, 100%. It is your body. It is your decision ultimately. But please understand that it's not always so cookie cutter with men. And because a lot of times you don't get to see our emotions, we don't talk about it, we might express it in a different way. You might not know that the decision that you made to lay down with that man and the decision that he made to lay down with you, how that literally can affect him in the future also. So I say all of that to say, for all of the young people out there, if you're dating and you're doing a little nasty thing or whatever, listen, if y'all can chill out a little bit, make sure you're protected and give yourself time, please. Yep. There's a reason why Frances Cress Welsing said, wait until you're 30. And when I first heard it, I was like 19. I was like, what is she talking about? But I understood a little bit more when I read her reasoning, which was just, that first 15, 20 years, we think we know everything. And then we spend the rest of our lives basically realizing we didn't know nothing. You don't necessarily want to bring a child into that situation unless you're in a relationship with somebody, you'll know y'all got each other's backs, and you develop and you grow and you have that understanding. But that's more and more rare these days because everything is so microwave, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to sort of throw that out there, and really just bring some context to what Charles was saying, because I know sometimes, and to share, thank you for coming on. We always want a woman's perspective. We want anybody's perspective, because that's what the thing is. We're having a conversation, and we're talking about things that you might not be privy to otherwise, and it's engaging. You know what I mean? C. Perry, Straight the Tape. I encourage everybody to watch Straight the Tape. They are incredible. They always to the point. C. Perry and Charles have a lot in common as far as the way they take information and give it back. And so, we're here, and I'm hoping that everybody that's on tonight is learning something, and don't say that the Real Talk Live is like against women's rights or anything like that. I don't want to see, because these things be going on in the comments. But
it's crazy because you know what? The funny thing is, I'm not against abortion. It's just that I don't like the fact that so many other factors. And I agree with what Tempest said. Of course, it's not black and white. There's a lot of factors, Obviously, there's rape. Obviously, there's health issues. Dev, privately, I told you earlier, I was like, yo, man, I don't agree with the way they got in this abortion thing. Now, if I didn't tell you that privately, most people listening to me would probably be like, he ain't never said that to you.
Right. No,
but I literally said that earlier. I was like, yo, kid, I don't agree with what they doing. Right. I said that to Dev earlier in a private conversation hours before we got on here. But I don't like the fact that, and I don't know how to correct it. So I don't know what the answer is. I definitely don't. This about, I definitely don't agree about it's only the woman's child until it's born, because me personally, I didn't start looking at my child. I started looking at my child as my child from the minute she told me she was pregnant. I didn't wait until after she was born to start looking at her as my child. So I ain't really following that comment. But the reality is, I don't know how to correct it. I don't even know if you can legislate it. It just feels like the man's role in it and his right. And I always say this, man, the people that scream the loudest for their rights always seem so willing to deny others theirs. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just wondering, like, why don't I have no rights to my kid? This isn't the Virgin Mary. This isn't the Immaculate Conception here. I played a role in this. I determined the sex of this kid. Why don't I have no rights? And I don't know, how do you give me those rights inside of your body, even if they can determine it? So I don't know what the answer is. This is the whole point of the discussion. But I just feel a certain type of way that is almost like, I don't even care what you think. My body, my choice. I'm doing whatever the hell I want. But once it's born, I'm going to take you to court. I'm going to do these type of things. You know, the energy changes a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Now,
you can't look at it from that perspective in terms of after the baby's born, now you're going on child support, because ultimately it comes down to this. When a woman is pregnant, it's a life or death situation. You know what I'm saying? Some women's body can't handle a pregnancy.
And I totally understand that.
And some women, you know, they can. But what it boils down to is this. Just, again, the foundation of the relationship, there needs to be a strong level of communication, because you have to just go back to the beginning of what I said. The child is inside the mother's womb. If you say you're adamant about the woman keeping the child and you telling her all the right things, and you may very well mean it, right? But then she decides to follow suit with what you're saying, and now it's detrimental to her health. So now you in a situation.
But I don't agree with if it's detrimental to her. What do you mean by detrimental to her health? First of all, you mean like physically something happened to her by bringing it to term?
Right. Some women are high risk pregnancy where something dramatic could happen to them by going full term.
But that's why I don't agree with the way, and that's what I spoke on. I don't agree with the way they're trying to gut it, where there's like no abortions under no situations. They're not taking into fact variables. You know what I'm saying? I can just imagine how hard it must be for a woman to be forced to keep a child of a stranger that raped her. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, that's crazy to me. That doesn't even sound logical to me, right? But yeah, so that's why I said I don't agree with the way they're gutting it. I 100% don't agree with that. What I'm just saying is I can't, like I said, I don't even know how you would go about changing a law or correcting it or whatever. It's just that I feel that it's like, damn, man, as the father, as the person that created this child with you, to absolutely have no say or no rights, you know, that's a hard pill to swallow. Just like women feel it's a hard pill to swallow right now, somebody else telling them, yo, I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna do and can't do with that kid inside of you. You feel a certain way. And though the kid ain't inside of me, it kind of can make you feel a certain way, like you just don't have no say.
But at the end of the day, though, Charles, it's only for 9 months while the child is being developed inside of the mother's womb. You know what I'm saying?
It's for eternity if you don't have it.
True, but what I'm saying is this. If you're in a situation with a woman, right, where you feel like your rights are being stripped while she's pregnant, it's only for 9 months. And if the right tone is set, when the baby is born, then it's, you know, it's all good.
But what about if the baby's not born?
If a woman chooses to get an abortion, bottom line is, it's nothing you, me, or anybody else could do, because it's a woman's decision.
Understood.
And that's just what it is.
And that goes back to the basis of what I'm saying. If you're gonna have the kid, this is almost a moot point. You know what I'm saying? But it's the point of, like, if you don't want to have the kid and the father does, where is the balance of his rights versus your rights to the kid?
I'm answering it, brother. There's no balance. It's just is what it is. It's unfortunate. So for the young people out there, for our children, and as we're talking to them about dating, this is something that they have to understand. You know what I mean? Are you in the Black Fathers group, Charles? Are you C. Perry, are you in the Black Fathers group?
I'm not.
Okay. There's a lot of discussions about these things. And a lot of the discussions in there are actually men who are being dragged through the court system, and they're becoming very bitter because they're like, yo, not only do I take care of my children, I take care of her children too. And she's coming, and every time this happens, now they want me to pay X amount of money and da 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 da. And so what you see across the board is that as far as men go, for most states, legally, we're non-existent when we are definitely trying to do the right thing in those certain situations. I'm gonna say it like that because again, it's very, So as of this time, it just doesn't exist. And personally, if you're dating someone, you do not know if you would like to have a child with that person, and you're having sex with them, you better be doing everything in your power to protect yourself from even being put in the situation. That's for a man or a woman.
Yep.
That uncertainty is there. But I mean, of course, that's all ideal stuff. I'm just throwing it out there from an ideal perspective. I'm old now, to most of the youngins out here.
But that's why I keep posting that comment, this comment right here. Because a lot of people keep referencing that birth control is not 100%.
No, it's not. But
to your point, Dad, it's not 100%. But I would be willing to bet that most of these people are not getting pregnant because the condom broke. They're getting pregnant because they didn't wear one.
That and
80%.
That's true.
80%.
You know what I'm saying?
80% better than 0%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
80% is I just got two things to say. That 80% is better than better than 0%. And yes, there is nothing wrong with being the old couple in the Lamaze class. That's what I
Listen, I'm gonna wind down. But on our wind down, if there's any more comments that you all want to say, I did quickly, if possible, because when I read this, I figured this was without starting a completely, new, boom. But did you all see this comment right here? And if so, do you have an opinion about it? Because I think she was talking to Charles at the time. But this is for anybody.
I was in a 3-layer relationship and the guy.
I lost my job. My partner became abusive while pregnant, leaving me in the domestic violence shelter. We need to stop thinking people don't change. He wanted me to terminate. I didn't. Does he have more rights than me?
What are you? But what I'm asking is,
well, we got to
does
answer.
He have? No, but no. My question is, I'm trying to understand what she's saying right there. Does he have more rights? What do you mean? After you went to the shelter and all after that situation happened, or are you talking about while you were pregnant?
She said, then to this situation, does he have more rights then?
Right, because he wanted her to terminate and she didn't. So how does the who right versus who?
Of what you were saying.
But that's my point. That's what I'm saying. It's hard to figure out how do you balance it on either side.
Or does he have more rights then, based on this scenario? I was in a 3-year relationship with a great job. I lost my job. My partner became abusive while pregnant, leaving me in a domestic violence shelter. We need to, stop thinking people don't change. He wanted me to terminate. I didn't. Does he have more rights then?
No.
Does he have more? What are you saying? Does he have more right to force her to terminate it? You mean? And she didn't want to?
I'm just based on her.
Because that's what I'm trying to say is it's not even about who has more rights or who has less right. It's about having more of equal rights. Now, okay, I'm gonna give you an example, right? Yo, they trying to pass a law. I forgot where. I just read it that if the drunk driver kills a children in a car accident, that the state is gonna legally make him pay child support for the kid losing their parents.
Oh wow!
Now that's now is that some type of remedy? I don't know if it's like if you didn't want it and the guy did. Is there some way that they'll legislate that then he has to take the kid and then it becomes a situation of the reverse, like if everything that you're saying, if it all just plays out in reverse with the obvious biological thing that can't play out in reverse, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not 100% sure how do you make both people have equal rights. That's the whole point of what I'm saying. It's like it's a very hard thing to figure out, because I mean, obviously when you look at you know, the different variables, you know, obviously the rape, obviously the health issues, you know, I don't really buy the broken condom issue, you know what I'm saying, like that one. But you know, it's hard. It's hard to figure out what is the balance to give them some type of equality in the decision-making process. That is what I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I don't know.
What's to comprehend? If you're an expecting father and you leave, you're a piece of shit, bro. But
yeah, but I mean, what's to comprehend is you told me that the kid ain't even mine until he's born. So I mean, I would take your comment further to say that if you leave her while the kid is in the womb, which you just said the kid ain't even yours at that state of time, you still a piece of shit.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this, Charles. I just did a quick little Google search, and according to this legal website, Matterson Law, it says the father does not have the same parental rights as the mother pre-birth. So a mother cannot be forced into giving birth if she wants to terminate the pregnancy.
No, but we already know that. That's why that's allowed to go on. That's the whole point, is that the father does not, at the time of conception, the father does not have the parental rights to do anything or to say anything. I know. And you're reading it legally because there's no law. And this is why I always tell Dev, man, yo, look, no matter how you feel about something, kid, this is why they always try to get the law on their side, because it makes somebody accountable to something. This is why people spend millions of dollars paying lobbyists to get laws on their side. Now, if there was a law that made me equal in the decision-making process, then what you just read would be obsolete. But that's the whole point. There is no law that establishes and gives me the equal or any parental rights until after the child is born. And that's the whole basis of my argument, so to speak, is like, damn, how do you make that a little bit more fair? And once again, I don't know. I don't know how.
We're gonna close out. Any last thoughts, C. Perry? Any last?
Yeah, male pregnancy.
Y'all couldn't handle it, please. Good night.
That's the only way to make it equal. I'm sorry. That's the only way to make it equal, because this still goes back to me, and the final decision is going to be with with the mother, because of the literal heavy lifting. Okay, so if we can figure out how men can do the 9 months, then we're on equal footing. That's where I am.
Got you. Sarah, any last comments and statements?
I'm good.
You good?
I'm good.
Charles, I'm scared to ask you this because we'll be on for another 30
Yeah, because Charles is rough. He's gangster.
I'm messing with you. Come on, Charles.
I mean, shoot, I made my, those are my thoughts, Kay, on certain things. That's just my thoughts on it. But like I said, because I know how it'll get interpreted, that I'm actually not against abortion rights. It's just that everything I just said, but I'm absolutely not against it though.
Well, C. Perry, can you go on and shout out your podcast before we get off of here?
Yeah, sure. All right, so look, C. Perry II, I'm 1/4 for Podcasters Fantastic Four. I do a live stream on Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Facebook Live, on YouTube, and on Twitch. It's called Straight to Tape. That's straight, Roman numeral 2, tape. All right. The audio version, you can catch it on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. All right. Just did Dev, thank you for checking in yesterday on last night's show. I thought we put a masterpiece out there last night.
Absolutely.
And
So who you had on the show last night, really quick?
Yes. We had Rapper Pooh, one half of the legendary Little Brother crew. And we had a great conversation. About their upcoming documentary about the Little Brother story. His managing situation now. He manages Loot from Dreamville, and he manages a couple of other artists. And it was just a really, really great conversation. We have some other guests coming up this week. Coming up this month. I can't announce them yet, but you'll be finding out who they are soon. So definitely come through and check us out.
Absolutely.
Say that again. When is your date? So when do you do yours, Perry?
We do live on Tuesdays at 8 p.m.
Absolutely.
Okay. And straight to, I know the name Straight to Tape. I was never really sure of exactly what days you go, but I'm gonna check it out next Tuesday.
Oh man, look, you'll
love it.
You'll enjoy it.
Yeah, and they are definitely live, man.
Yeah. And so you get to know me, Perry. Yo, I debate points that I have the total opposite opinion of, just to spark and see how people are thinking or how they're viewing things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is like my second or third time being up here. I already know that.
He's been here.
Yeah.
So,
he knows.
Sometimes I talk to Dev and I tell him, and we'll be talking. I'll be like, I don't even know how I feel about that, but I know some trigger words that'll get it going to say things. Not saying that that's what I did here, but I'm just saying that, like,
no. When you see my fellow host, man, trust me. Yeah.
It's a whole different. They
yeah.
They don't play either. They don't play. It's like four of you, but just can't explain it.
You're like, oh God, I don't even know if I want to watch that show. Then if it's for them,
well, I'm saying, they Tico, Rob, Keisha, they, Hip Hop Mom, they are an energized bunch. And then, C. Perry, he'll sort of bring things into perspective, and then they'll just go. But they don't play though. You come in those comments, and you better be ready, because they might say something off the wall to you, but they can literally back it up. They got all the information. So it's sort of like, I guess, low bit sometimes, and they swing just a little bit too slow, and the ball hits them right on the forehead and knocks people down. But it's a great podcast. You know what I mean?
Thank you, bro.
Definitely, man. I'm gonna come check that. I'm gonna come check it out 100%.
Yeah.
Listen, you want to go? Okay, what you gonna say on CP?
I was like I said, come through. You trust me. You will. You will enjoy. Okay. And all I gotta say is, look. Don't take Tico literally, okay? Because
don't take it literally. Yeah. Because
and Nika, what's your name? Nika?
Yes.
Nika, we appreciate you coming up here, and I don't know, I don't want to call it the hot seat, but at least coming up here,
I ain't scared. I ain't never scared.
Yo, no matter what just for the record, no matter what you decide to do, man, it ain't gonna never, throw me off on no crazy type of stuff, man. I could respect everybody, whatever choice they ultimately make. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that goes back to even when we used to discuss the vaccines and all of that type of stuff. At the end of the day, you got your feelings, I have my feelings, but I could walk away from it. No love lost, no harm, no foul,
Oh, of course, absolutely.
Everybody
I'm
does what they
open-minded.
feel is best for them,
Right. Yeah, I'm open-minded, so.
Yeah, we've only had 2 times where we had to really show up on some people, and it is what it is, But listen, everybody have a wonderful evening. We actually normally try to go about an hour and a half, because some of our older shows are like literally college courses. And we look back and we're like, yo, what were we doing? And then when we would disconnect from everybody. And we start talking again, and there's plates of food coming out. Let me run to get something to eat. And people,
But I will say this, not to cut you off, Dev, but I definitely salute you guys as Black men on this type of platform, having intellectual conversations and not just talking about, the average norm stuff from hip hop culture. You guys definitely discuss a variety of topics, and it's definitely commendable. So definitely wanted to shout you guys out on that.
Appreciate
what?
that.
Thank you for that shout out. And since we throwing alley oops, I want to shout out Straight to Tape, because they actually became a podcast in the visual world, but prior to that, they were doing other things. And so some of our early inspiration, some of the things that I had shared with Mike and Charles, it actually came straight from them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Steven, crazy, man.
Hey, I'm a white man being intellectual. Yo, Steve, listen. You know what it is with us, man. We come on anytime. We appreciate you as a white man and a white man intellectual coming up here and joining us. And that's the beauty of it. All of us grew up in New York, and for all intents and purposes, it's a melting pot, as they say. But, we had our issues there, and we're just unapologetic about our discussions. And, we were actually told to loosen up and do some more stuff and, actually do some things, about sports and music and stuff like that. And we are going to do those things. It just so happens that, who starts the conversation, which 9 times out of 10 is going to be Charles. We're gonna be over here somewhere. You know what I mean? We have to be deliberate about it, like Charles. We're going to talk about hip hop tonight. We're not talking about the Knicks, okay? And we won't even bring it to the Knicks.
Oh, what was that you were saying? The Knicks?
Yeah. All of us are Knicks fans, but he's a diehard and he's a diehard. You're a diehard Knicks fan.
Yeah, but I'm a bet. But actually, my favorite team is the Yankees. Baseball is my favorite sport. I'm a lifelong baseball fan. I play more organized baseball than anything. I play baseball longer than any other sport. Yeah, baseball, which is funny because almost all my Black friends tell me baseball is boring. You know what I'm saying?
Now, look, grew up a Yankee fan, but as you can see over my shoulder, Wall Clyde Frazier. The Knicks is number 1 to me. So
yeah,
there it goes.
Ain't no question. Yankees doing their thing, man. Ain't no question.
Yeah, like I said, as long as they keep it up. I think. We haven't had a World Series since 2008. So let's keep it up.
Yeah. That's I love some Yankee baseball, man. Definitely.
Well, I think we have definitely said everything under the sun. And, please feel free to come back anytime. And we loved your question. Yes, we always invite women to the stage. They just sometimes we ain't messing with y'all. We're gonna hang out here. But I also say this: we have a core following of women that really support us and let us know when we're doing things right, and definitely let us know when we're doing things wrong. So and if you guys are interested, we can add you. We have a thread, and anybody that's interested, just say you're interested. Because we actually have a thread where a lot of us from the Real Talk are. Those conversations could be just as crazy. They are crazy than being up here. So with that being said, we're going to finally say goodnight. And we're going to put on this little extended goodbye. And by the way, Perry, I don't know if you know, but our opening and our closing, you got yours, photos and everything. I don't know if you knew it, but I produced this one. Did you know that?
You did what?
This is my music.
No, Dad, come on, Dad. Why you even? Why don't
you know I did this one right here?
I don't already know that's your music, man.
I didn't know if you knew I did this one. I don't talk about it. I don't have one little credit that goes produced by Deveron. Sometimes I'll be wanting to do stuff like that so people can know that I got a little talent.
You need to, man. Look, if you do it and you put it out there and it's yours, put your name on it, bro. Put your name on it.
Well, everybody, I did the theme song. And I did the video. And I got a whole bunch of videos from years ago when I was doing, a lot of videos and a lot of hip hop stuff when I was out there, So that stuff is all on YouTube. All right. Everybody have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Good night, y'all.
There you
Good night. Take care.
go.